Episode 179. Thank you all for listening to episode 178, Dark Side of the Dream. I am Gary here with my co-host,
Zazu.
You got Bear?
Yeah, Cody Bryant.
So 4 of us are here. We had a good show last week with Wes Anderson, a good couple of shows. Again, thank you to Wes Anderson for Moments in Time. Check him out on Facebook, Wes Anderson Music. Give him a follow on Twitter at Songs by Wes. Check out his new single, Mind Quarantine, featuring Ted Bone, on all music streaming platforms. Thank you again, Wes Anderson. So, haven't had a lot really go on we have had quite a bit go on in the last week, but first thing I was going to talk about is NASCAR. We now know that they are besides UFC, they are the first returning sport. They will be doing 4 races starting next week. They're going to go Wednesday, Sunday, or Wednesday, Saturday, and then Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. Same thing at the same 2 tracks. What is it, Darlington, and what was the other track?
Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did they say?
I think it's Sunday, Wednesday in Darlington, and then Sunday, Wednesday again in Charlotte.
Okay, and then that's starting. They're starting next Wednesday, right? I think is when the first race is.
No, it'll be the 17th. It's Sunday, Wednesday, not Wednesday, Sunday.
Okay, I got you. So they'll start on the 17th, and then from there. So next week we'll make our picks for Sunday and Wednesday because we record on Wednesdays. So
yes,
we'll do our 2 picks and move on. That'll be fun. Have they said for Charlotte if it's going to be the Speedway and then the Roval for the other race?
I did not see that yet. I know that because that was supposed to be the weekend of the All-Star race, and that has been canceled. I do know that, so I am assuming that it's Coca-Cola 600 Sunday night because that's Memorial Day weekend, and then Sunday should be the Roval. Should be, but I don't know if that's been confirmed yet.
Okay, well, we've got a couple weeks. They're only, like Bear and I discussed before this all started today, this episode, that there are 4 races in. Joey Logano's won 2 of them. And who's won the other ones? Hamlin, and did Bowman win? I think Bowman was the other one, wasn't he? Because it was all like the 22, the 11, the 88. I think it was.
Yeah,
Bowman.
I think Bowman won California.
Yep, I think you're right. And just to kind of give people an update, since we're going to have NASCAR coming back next week, the updated standings for NASCAR, Stat Parrot Zazu is at 9.8 in the lead, Bear 12.8, Cody 14.3, Dub 17.5, and me 20.3. So we'll see how it goes. It's good to have some type of sports back. And I'm excited to see what happens. I believe the NFL schedule gets released tomorrow night or tonight when people start listening to that.
Yep, get to release that schedule so we can all not buy tickets to go. Can't wait.
I know that's how I felt about when I saw Rage Against the Machine. I was supposed to go July 13th. It is now moved back to July 26th of 2021.
At least they're doing it and didn't cancel it.
Right. You guys see that the Dolphins are going to allow at least up to 15,000 in their stands?
I saw that for now in Florida that they were. So if they do, I could see Tampa doing the same thing for Florida because they wrestling is deemed essential. So we'll see what happens down there.
If wrestling is deemed essential, football better be essential times 5.
And then what'd you say, Cody Bryant?
I said Florida's just going to Florida.
Yeah, they will. They will. Cody, I was going to tell you, your headset, it's harder to hear you out of everybody else on the show.
Really? Oh,
yeah. You're the most faint on the show.
I don't know. Let me stop trying to
soft-spoken.
Yeah, he's a soft-spoken man. Nobody wants to hear his thoughts. Yeah, we'll see.
It probably put me in jail.
That's a lot better. But we don't want him to put you in jail.
I don't know.
That's good right there.
All right, yeah, I think it's the mic then.
All good. All right, so that's it for NASCAR from us. Did you guys happen to watch The Last Dance this past weekend?
Yes, sir.
Of course.
So,
Seen it, yep.
So before we go into The Last Dance, of course, we'll thank our first sponsor. We'll thank All Wear Clothing, allwearclothing.com. Visit Brandon. He's an essential business. You can visit him at his White House location. If you wanted to go in person, just wear a mask. I just be safe. Wear a mask. Go into the business. pick up your T-shirts, your thongs, your banana hammocks, your sweatpants, your koozies, whatever you order from him. He can help you with all of your clothing needs. Again, Brandon, allwearclothing.com. All right, so that first episode of Last Dance, I know a lot of it focused on the Dream Team. I know it kind of bounces all over. One stat I found amazing was when they talked about him getting the Air Jordans. You know, they said they wanted the Air Jordan, and it was a catchy name. And they had that 4 years Nike projected, because Nike, people forget Nike was small at the time, very small. And they were basically known as a track shoe. And, you know, Jordan came in, he wanted Adidas. That was his thing. And Converse was the shoe of the NBA at the time. But they expected after 4 years, $3 million in shoe sales. And by the end of year one, they'd sold $126 million in shoes.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely insane.
Yep.
It's outrageous.
But it was, you know, like Jordan said, though, you know, his play helped sell those shoes. And he said if he went out there, you know, averaging 10 points and 3 rebounds a game, you know, those shoes wouldn't have sold.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It's do you think like he is the reason that Nike is as big as it is today?
Oh yeah, definitely. Without Jordan, there's no Nike. I mean, Nike would still be around, but they would be, I mean, basically a running shoe if they would even still be around today, to be honest.
They'd be what is it? What's that shoe company? Avis, AVIS or whatever. I think AVS, something like that.
Oh,
like
I think
that would be Nike.
Yeah, they'd probably be like Skechers or something right about now.
Or Jordan would have wore Skechers, and Skechers would be the biggest shoe in the world. How about that?
Yeah. Or it could have wore Dr. Scholl's, and that's what we'd have right now. Air Dr. Scholl's.
Those are comfortable. They got some good gels.
Yeah, no shit. Does anybody here ever own a pair of Jordans?
Yes, sir.
I think I have 4 pairs right now.
You have 4 pair now?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. No, sorry. I have 3 pairs and a pair of flip-flops, Jordan flip-flops. So technically 4 pairs total.
Nice. Cody?
3 shoes.
No, you got Team Jordans or Jordans? It's a difference.
Jordans.
Okay.
Jordans.
No, I've owned 1 pair of Jordans, and that was it. I was never a big I was never a big Jordan guy. The only ones that I've ever liked, I want to say, I think were the 11s. I think that's which ones they were. But I mean, that'll let you know how much I really cared about them.
Yeah, a friend of ours. Go ahead.
When he came out and wore those 1 retros, I can't remember what game that it was. One of the games was it in '98? No, maybe it was one. I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah, the Madison Square Garden game. The last time they played the Knicks, and he wore the 1s.
I'm pretty sure those go pretty high, but I'd pay some good money to get a pair of those.
I know somebody that had a shitload of them is Crandall, Sean from Crandall's Quality Landscaping. He had a shitload of Jordans, like a ton of them.
Yeah, you might as well wait until the winter. You know, wait for Christmas. They'll probably re-release them again.
Oh, no, I can get them at Nike.com right now for $115. That ain't bad at all.
Which ones?
No. Air Jordan 1s.
We'd have to look at that and see what the best ones are. Be interested to see our picks.
I might buy those right now.
No shit.
So Michael Jordan's annual take is around 130 million a year from Nike, and then LeBron's at number 2, and he averages about 32 million a year.
Jeez, perspective right there. 4 times the amount.
Well, LeBron's
too
ugly though.
Dude, my favorite LeBrons were the LeBron, I think the Soldier 3s or something like that.
LeBron's newer ones are nice. His first ones were nice. The newer ones aren't. I agree. I don't think they're that good looking. I don't like them.
I'd say probably the ones from his rookie year, probably the best looking ones. But then they also look like a pair of Jordans.
Oh, absolutely. They all do. It's Nike.
Yeah,
Yeah. I thought
which
the
ones you
Melos
looking
looked
at
better
there?
than the LeBrons did back then.
What, LeBron's? Oh shit, I don't know. I got them when I probably have had those for 6 years. They were my basketball shoes back in the day. I probably haven't worn them in 3.
So you just showed the LeBron 10s, pure platinum.
The only LeBrons I've ever bought.
That's an ugly shoe.
I was about to say the same thing. I wanted Cody to say it first.
I
I'm sorry.
Poor
bought
Zazu,
them in Florida when I was like 18 years old.
You should
which
have left
was
them in
like 3
Florida.
years ago.
That's a Florida shoe if I've ever seen one.
Right.
Well, here.
Florida's got Florida.
Which ones are you buying here, Bear? I know you're buying the Jordans now.
Yeah, the retro, but not the high ones. They'd be mid.
So the
Past it. The retro. See, if you go that Air Jordan 1 retro, it just wouldn't be high. It'd be the mid.
oh, okay. Yeah, I saw some down here. They had this retro high OG.
High tops are only for basketball. They ain't for walking around in.
Right.
I liked that Westbrook shoe up top.
I don't know which Westbrook shoe. Which one?
It's the it was the colorful one.
Oh, this one?
The Rush shoe.
Jordan, why not? This one here?
That's a Westbrook shoe.
Oh, Parrot. You make me happy. Well, besides shoes, so like the first one he was playing against Clyde Drexler in the finals, and he was talking about Magic Johnson was talking about how Jordan was playing poker, or they were playing poker cards in the room the night before, and he said he's going to embarrass Clyde Drexler, and he just kept hitting 3 after 3 after 3 and kept looking over at Magic.
Dude, Clyde looked about 75 years old. I forgot. He looks younger now than he did then.
Yeah, he looked old as shit.
Like, Clyde, just shave it off, man. That thing was halfway back in his head. Just shave it. Just like LeBron. I know he doesn't want to because they'll think he shaves his head. He'd just be just like Jordan. That's why he doesn't want to do it. But come on, man, you're losing it. Just get rid of it. It's time.
Oh, no, he can't shave it now. He already plugged it back in. He can't shave it.
That is true.
All that money he spent on that hairline, that shit ain't going nowhere.
Shit. And then I love the thing about when they started going into the Dream Team, how they talked about, Magic. He said Magic's the number 1 point guard in history, and then Isaiah's a distant 2, essentially. And he said, and he said you could basically say, you could put it on me. It ain't me. Nobody liked him. Larry didn't like him. Magic didn't like him. Scotty didn't like him. Nobody wanted to play with him. They all had beef.
Yeah, no, around that time, man, nobody wanted to play with Isaiah. Isaiah was hot in the streets and not in a good way. I mean, like, he was even beefing with Magic Johnson. And I mean, like, that's almost impossible to do.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, Magic's the nicest guy, and you see Isaiah now. Do you think it's all a front where he seems like this super nice guy, or do you think he is probably nice nowadays?
I think Isaiah Thomas was always nice. It was just, I think he's just a very proud, just a very proud man. I think he's, I think he's a genuine person, and it's just like where you stand with him.
Right.
And I think with him and Jordan, with their beef, man, it's not. I don't even think it's a beef anymore. I think it's just, I don't really, it's basically I don't rock with that guy. Like, I don't have anything bad to say about him, but we're not gonna be best friends either.
Right. Do you and I wanted to start with you on this next one. So as we get into, Isaiah obviously didn't make the Dream Team, and the Dream Team did happen, and they had this practice where they all played this game that, nobody ever saw. Cody, you kind of want to give us the backstory on that?
Oh man, that's easily the greatest practice and or pickup game in the history of basketball. You have, basically 12 of the greatest players to ever play in the NBA, just in the history of the NBA at that time in 1992. It was a summer, a practice during the Olympics, and you have Magic on one side and Jordan on the other. And all these guys are in their prime, and they're just going at each other, talking trash to each other. It gets to a point Magic Johnson chucks a ball into the stands after a foul call. Like they showed clips, during Last Dance, and then also there's a Dream Team documentary that they did that has more footage from that practice, and they've asked Charles Barkley about that, and Magic and Charles Barkley were on the same team during that practice. And there's, Barkley's telling the story how they were up 8 on Jordan and Pippen, and they're just giving it to him. And they just kind of, subtly start talking trash to Mike. And next thing you know, Jordan scores the next 15 points in a row. And, they have this super tense practice, and they get on the bus afterwards, and it's kind of quiet for a little bit. And then Barkley leans over to Magic and he says, "I guess we shouldn't have pissed off Michael, huh?" But I mean, it's just to be able to watch something like that, man. Boy.
Yeah, you look at that and you're like, damn, he's no joke. And Larry's sitting on the sideline with his bad back, just watching this all transpire,
right?
Because he's got his bad back, and everything going on, and they were pissed off, and that was kind of the turning point for okay, yeah, this is his league, this is his team, right. This is his league. He is the alpha male now. It's no longer us. Like, there's no question, no longer Magic. Bird knew it wasn't him. He's just, I'm just gonna lay here. Even though I did find it funny when they had the All-Star game, later on in '98, and fucking Bird's the coach and Mike's there.
Yeah.
He's like, you're gonna play me 40 minutes, aren't you? He's like, yeah, be ready. So it was just cool to see that.
And then the Olympics, man, the way that they just that 92, 93, just that season. And just how Jordan and Pippen just took everything related to Jerry Krause, like personal. They took it all.
Oh God, yes,
personal.
They did.
And Tony Kukoc was supposed to basically be, next in line. Like, Krause was willing to trade Pippen, just to have Kukoc come over and just to make room for him. So, they get a chance to play Kukoc in the Olympics. And, they tell the story about how, Pippen and Jordan just humiliate this guy on the Olympic stage the first time they played him. I mean, they held him, I think, 4 points and 2 rebounds or something the first time they played him. And poor Tony Kukoc, man, he didn't know what the hell was going on. All he knew, he was just trying to play basketball. And it was just because Jerry Krause liked him so much.
That's too bad too, because people don't realize how underrated Kukoc was, man. He was the third best player on that team, whether you say it or not. Right. It was Jordan, Pippen, Kukoc. That's a fact.
Oh yeah, easily. I mean, without him, and then they ended up apologizing to him, afterwards, and then they met again in the gold medal game,
and they realized he was the real deal.
Yeah, he showed right back up. He didn't even care. So, but I mean, that right there, and I think that's when they knew, like, yeah, we can win with this guy.
Yeah, Kukoc is no joke, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, Kukoc was the truth back then.
What do you think about Kukoc there, Bear?
Just like I said, man, he's underrated as shit. People don't give him the respect due because he played behind Jordan and Pippen, but he was the third best player on that team, man. And, like you said, I like the way they played it out because the way he played in that gold medal game, that earned not only Jordan and Pippen's respect, that earned the NBA's respect. Everyone on that team then knew who Tony Kukoc was and realized that, okay, he can play with us. He's not just another European, this dude can play. So, I thought that was good that they documented that. But just like Cody said, the same thing. It's like, man, poor dude. He didn't even, it's not even his fault. It was all because Krause was all over him. It wasn't even hit, he just wants to play. So I kind of felt bad about that, but especially with everything going on, like they were saying, all the civil war and everything going on in that country, that, all that shit going down, that he just wanted to get over to the States and get away from all that, man. Just play ball. So it's a good thing he did, and he gained that respect, because if he didn't, and, if he put up another stinker in the gold medal game, then, if he gets signed by the Bulls, maybe they don't respect him, and maybe they don't mesh well, and maybe Jordan and Pip, maybe they don't win those rings because they just got some guy that they don't want to play with. So you never know.
Yeah, and he came off the bench, that whole time, with the Bulls when he was there, but he was the sixth man of the year. All this, like you said, he scored the third most points for that team. But every time they would go to move somebody, like Jordan comes back, and then they get Rodman. So of course, it makes sense for Kukoc to go to the bench. But I mean, they had a deep bench with him there. I mean, you got a 6'11" guy coming off that bench. Dude's a monster.
Honestly, it's the same thing with the Warriors, dude. People don't if they didn't have Iguodala in 2015, they wouldn't have won that title. LeBron would have beat him by himself. You know why? Because Steph and Clay couldn't shoot for shit in that series. LeBron was putting up triple-double after triple-double after triple-double and could have taken them. But we got Iggy coming off the bench. Not only is the defensive beast that he is, but he's putting in 15 to 20 points. That's huge. If you get Iggy defensively and get him 8 to 10 points a game, that's great. But when he's putting up 15 to 20 and throwing out that same defense, that's why they took him in 2015. Besides Kyrie getting hurt as well, but I mean that's just how you got to have that sixth man off the bench that is going to produce for the team. I mean, in all honesty, that's what it's not that starting five. Everyone's not playing 40 minutes a fucking night.
Right. The other thing there that I was looking at and that I kind of wondered about when we were talking about this, and we talk about like Kukoc and the Olympics and all that happening, is he does come over and he plays with them, and you just look at it. He's a 3-time champion. He had the sixth man of the year. He was on the all-rookie second team. I mean, he took Croatia to the final against the Dream Team. People forget that it was Croatia that got there, because all that you hear and they talk about is the Dream Team just dominated everybody, which they did. But, Kukoc got him there. It was a cool story to see him get his due. And they talk, about Kukoc where they're like, oh, yeah, he's no bullshit. Then you realize he's a real deal.
Yeah, and I don't even know who I felt more bad for around that time. I don't know if I felt more bad for Kukoc or for Dan Marley. Oh my God, I just watching it back, because Jerry Krause, he loved Dan Marley too. And the next thing you know, man, Jordan's just torching him in the finals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that shit with Dan Marley too, man.
Yeah, it was just crazy how they just would clear out. And there wasn't that much isolation in the league back then. Right. But they would just clear out every time Marley was on Jordan with the ball.
Yeah, they leave him there. Thunder Dan couldn't do shit.
He just humiliated that dude.
That's fantastic. And, you got to give it to – I love the backstory they gave about Kukoc, too, coming from what was then Yugoslavia, and then with the civil wars with Croatia and Slovenia. I mean, it was very interesting story, and that this guy, he's lived through this shit. So he's going to come back. He's going to ball. He's going to do his thing. I mean, that's how he handled his life. I thought that was really good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And next thing, I thought it was very classy how he did it. And Jake, you watched it, didn't you, Jake?
What?
Did you watch The Last Dance? What we're talking about?
Of course.
Okay. Do you remember what he did to cover up that Reebok logo?
Oh yeah,
he got their gold medals.
American flag over it.
I thought that was so classy how he did it. He's like, yeah, basically shit on me now for covering this Reebok logo with the flag. pretty good. I mean, he didn't want to. He's like, nope, I don't care how much Reebok paid. They're gonna remember. They're not gonna see it coming what I'm doing to cover this logo. He didn't give a shit.
Yeah, well, he put him in a position where it's like, well, I dare you to say something.
Yeah, he did.
Who's gonna say anything bad about the flag being on? You know what I mean?
Right. That's what he did.
It was a good thought. What were your thoughts, Cody? I specifically want to ask you this whole thing. This one, your thoughts on the whole Harvey Gantt situation?
Well, I mean, I don't know, because hell, we could honestly we could do a whole show on just like the black athlete in general. So like, I mean, is to try to sum it up in a minute or two is pretty difficult. But I mean, for Jordan to be at that time, he was the most popular athlete in the country, black or white. And they basically they reached out to Jordan for that North Carolina Senate race, and they wanted him to, endorse the candidate. And I mean, which Michael Jordan, he's from North Carolina, he has a voice, and it carries weight, not only with the black community but with whites as well. So I mean, basically all they were kind of looking for was the Jordan to say like, hey man, this guy is bad news. I say, who do you run up against? Who do you run against?
Jesse Helms.
Yeah, Jesse Helms. Like, it was just, hey man, this guy's bad news, which he was. I mean, I kind of, it was crazy how they snuck in the quote, like when he did his acceptance speech or whatever, and it was like, there's no celebration in Mudville, and I'm like, wow, they actually snuck that in. I mean, Helms was a very big segregationalist, and he was one that was quoted as calling the Civil Rights Act one of the most destructive things, one of the destructive laws ever to be written or added to the Constitution. So, and he was bad news. So they, you want to try to get Jordan as a black athlete, a prominent black athlete, to say following the footsteps of Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, Bill Russell, basically athletes from that previous generation. And Jordan kind of stayed to himself, and which he, for good or bad, which he has basically his whole career. Um, he's done things, but he doesn't do it the typical way that that a lot of people in the black community would expect Jordan to do it. But it's just it's a double-edged sword. So they kind of blame Jordan for Harvey Gantt not winning that, because they felt Jordan could and should have done more, which he could. He could have, maybe he should have done more, but at the same time, he said that the only thing I didn't really care for was his reasoning for not getting involved. Just to me, it sounded more kind of like a cop out, saying that he was more focused on basketball at that time.
Now this is where, because I kind of forgot about this until it just brought up. So I'm trying to think back on the episode. Did he say with that though that he really, and like you said, whether it's an excuse or not, or whether I'm making this up or I heard it, correct me if I'm wrong, because honestly I don't remember. But didn't he say like, I really didn't know him, so I didn't, or something like that? So that's why that's another support him. He didn't really know Harvey Gantt.
Right. Yeah. He didn't know enough. He said he didn't know enough to, get involved or not. And
okay, that's right.
And then after he said that, that's when he added on the whole, I was focused on my craft.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
that part right there is what made it sound like a cop out to me.
Well, and then
You
people
know,
were
'cause
worried
if
when
you're
he made that comment too about the Republicans buy shoes too. You
right,
know?
right. Which I mean, it's a great line. It really
Yeah,
is.
it
Like
is.
it's hilarious. You know, and
Yeah.
it's I don't know, man. It's just hard just with with black athletes. Kind of like when Obama had commented, they're quick to ride. You're quick to well, like the country is quick to put a black athlete on a pedestal and praise them, but then the first time they mess up or something happens, then they're gonna tear them down.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like, okay, so what do you do? So I mean, Jordan was very, very, very image conscious. He made sure that whatever he did, he it was basically, well, how is this gonna look? So I mean, I think if he would have just stuck to, I didn't know much, to say yay or nay on it, I think it would have been. I think a lot of people would have respected that. But then it's just, I don't know, it's just a funny thing, but not necessarily funny. It's just the way things go, for black athletes, because around that same time they weren't asking Dean Smith to vouch for Harvey Gantt one way or another. So and then I heard a story today. um Lou Holtz actually got fired for supporting what's was it, Fields or Helms?
Really?
Really,
Yeah,
I didn't know
Lou
that.
Holtz.
I didn't
When
know that
Lou
either.
Holtz was the coach at Arkansas, he did like a radio ad or whatever, like for his campaign while he was campaigning. And Arkansas fired Lou Holtz. So I mean, that should kind of tell you how bad news that guy is. For Lou Holtz to get fired from Arkansas.
Yeah, I can see that, man. It was definitely. I agree with what you said with his whole image thing. There's no doubt. But you're right. Just like you said too, it is a double edged sword because if whether now it doesn't matter what case. If I was white, black, if I was in that place as an athlete and I didn't know, I that's the biggest thing that sucks to be an athlete. They expect you to get into the politics and all that. If
Right.
you didn't give a shit about politics, why do you got to get into it?
Right.
And
Exactly.
Jordan could come out and just say, yeah, Helms is he's a bad character, and I don't know the other dude and all that, but I don't want to get involved in it. I think you're right. Just like you said, I think that would have saved face of everything. You don't have to endorse someone, but you can also point out flaws.
Right.
But you're right. At the same time, too, man, that he could also be thinking, well, shit, that's 10% of my shoe sales. That's money. There's a reason why Michael Jordan's a billionaire right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong. Same thing with Tiger, but look, I mean, he lost a lot of his sponsors when the whole cheating thing went down. A lot of.
Right.
Now, did it affect his paydays then? Certainly. Does it affect him now? No, because he rebranded himself. It's a different situation, a different scenario. But again, it's one of the most popular athletes of all time, and obviously, probably the second most popular black athlete of all time behind Jordan is Tiger Woods.
Right. And that's
And you saw
I
it
have
happen.
right, and I have a lot of uncles, man. Like we talk about that, and to us it's funny. It's like, well, that's when Tiger Woods found out he was actually black. So
It's
but
true.
like it goes to what Obama has said, though. Like, you get built up, and the first time you mess up, man, they'll tear you down.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they tore him down. And granted, he deserved to get torn down, but I mean, like Tiger, he lost everything. And that's just with your, image. God forbid you would get involved in, politics or any type of, civil rights or human rights issues, being a black athlete.
And I don't think he really ever did there. That was one thing too, is that, I don't remember, I'm not saying he didn't, but I don't remember him. Now, granted, it's kind of when most of this went on, but endorsing, a Bush or an Obama, or, he would have been young to really endorse Clinton. That would have been right as he was starting. And he was big. No one would have really given a shit like they would have in 2000 or in 04 or in 08, There's obviously different times for that. So it's interesting. And like you said, it's a whole different scenario. It's not politics.
Right.
It's your personal life and hundreds and hundreds of Denny's waitresses. So to each his own, I guess.
Yeah, man. It's just let you know, like, you're a black athlete, man. You're either doing too much or you're not doing enough.
Mm-hmm. Right. I did like how finally in the documentary, though, they changed Obama from former Chicago resident to former president.
Yeah, right.
They finally changed that. So thanks for that, ESPN.
Right.
That former Chicago resident, Barack Obama. I was like, oh, yeah, I think I recognized him from my one time through Chicago.
Didn't one of the episodes, didn't they put his name in as Barry? Wasn't he like Barry from Chicago or something like that, I think?
I didn't see that.
Because, he did go by Barry, back in the day, Barry Obama.
Yeah, like Barry, Chicago resident.
Wonder if he had anything to do with that. The other thing, fun fact, I did some research on Harvey Gantt. I found this pretty cool. He was the first African-American admitted into Clemson.
Interesting.
Thought that was a pretty interesting fact. He was the 50th mayor of Charlotte from 83 to 87, so this was before that. So I thought that was pretty neat. But the biggest thing was, he was admitted to Clemson, and he has a degree in architecture with honors from Clemson and a master's in city planning from MIT. He's no bullshit.
Right, yeah. He's
a smart dude.
Yeah, he was legit.
What did was that for Senate or was that for the House? What was that for?
I believe it was a Senate.
When he ran, it was for Senate.
Yeah,
and he lost twice.
I was about to say, did he? Yeah. I was about to say, did he ever get into? I don't. Honestly, I don't know either of those guys. So this is like, I'm not big on politics. That's why if I was an athlete, I'd stay away from that shit too.
Right. Yeah. Me neither. Yeah, I'd stay away from it. I don't make enough money.
And so in that election, he did not go after Helms for, on race. He went after him on like healthcare, education, jobs, all that shit. But again, he didn't go against him on the race, the racial, the segregation that Helms always talked about and everything else. So, that could have been an issue. But again, this is several years ago. Things were different in the 90s than they are now. And up to the 2000s, and even after Barack Obama was president, things kind of changed a little bit. And we still see this shit today. So it was a big deal, to see that, and for Jordan not to do it, obviously was a even bigger deal. And then now it's at the forefront again with this documentary that happened.
Which I'm pretty sure, since Jordan has basically control over the whole documentary, I'm sure they'll probably add something into what he's done, since then. He was never one to, be out in front, kind of picketing and, things like that, like that Bill Russell and Muhammad Ali and Jim Brown have done. But just the Charlotte, the franchise, Jordan's front office in Charlotte has the highest percentage of minority and female employees in high level positions, more than any Fortune, most of the Fortune 500 corporations, in sports or just in general.
Good. That's good.
So that's, he does it that way, which you can't, there's nothing wrong with it. He just does everything a different way. It could have been worse. Like, Jordan could have been like OJ and wanted nothing to do with the black community whatsoever.
Oh, I thought you were going to say what? Allegedly.
Oh, no.
Allegedly.
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 The he did lose that first election 53% to 47%, and then in 96 when he ran again, he lost. It looks like with only 46% of the vote. So he actually lost a percentage. So that momentum he had, he lost it, of course, over time. So that's unfortunate, but very smart guy, and I'm glad that they talked about him because it had me end up doing a little bit of research on him and learn about him. He's a very well-educated man. So with some other things, what did I'll ask Parrot this one because I know he's got some of these issues sometimes, and Bear, you could chime in too because I know you are. What Zazu? I'll start with you. What did you think about Jordan's gambling issues?
He probably gambled more in one game of poker than I ever will in my whole life. Or cards.
Throwing a quarter at a wall.
Yeah, man. Chipping pennies, man. That was a thing back then.
I've never heard of that or seen that until I watched that. Never heard of it.
I heard of it from my old boss at the pizza shop because he used to pitch pennies. He's like 80 years old, and he was telling me about it. And he's like, "Yeah, you try to get it close to this line, and then you bet $1, you bet $5, whatever you want to bet." And you could see Jordan. The biggest thing with him there was talked about competition, and I love what they said about in the back. You want to talk about that, Bear? What they did in the back of the plane?
Oh well, just with all the cards in general and everything, I love that they're playing what $20, $50, $100 a hand, and I'm trying to think who's up front. Who's a big, tall, white center?
Bill Winnington. I think.
Yeah, he's like, we're playing for 50 cents or $1 up front.
Right.
Come up there and try to get our money too.
And they're like, why are you coming to play against us? He's like, so I can say I've got your money in my pocket.
That's Jordan, man. It's not a gambling problem. He's just got a competition.
Yeah, he's got a competition problem.
That's all it is.
I'm going to use that, by the way, from now on.
Right?
I got a gambling problem. I got a competition problem.
What do you got, Zazu?
Oh, I was going to say, I felt like the whole Atlantic City thing was blown way out of proportion.
Yeah.
Him and his dad went up there. I thought that was kind of ridiculous for that. I mean, as a grown man, you're not going to be perfect every single night. You're on the floor no matter what. If he wasn't gone.
Welcome to Tony Romo's life.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Any athlete who does anything before any big game, it's bad on them, no matter who it is, which is ridiculous.
What do you mean you were raw dogging Jessica Simpson in the booth?
Right.
Cares? Let them.
They still shit on Vince Carter for going to his graduation ceremony before a playoff game.
I didn't even know he graduated.
Yeah, Vince, he graduated with honors and went back, and it was game 7, I think. Them when he was still in Toronto, and they were playing the 76ers. This was, I think, 2004. And like that morning or whatever it was, the day of the game, he went and walked. He went and walked to his graduation ceremony, and it was something that he told his mom that he was going to do no matter what. He told his mom he was going to graduate, and he was going to walk. So, he fulfilled his promise to his mom, then went and played 45 minutes, I think, against the 76ers, and had the last shot, and the last shot rimmed out. But yet, people still try to shit on him to this day for that.
Yeah, that'd exactly be it. Oh, well, he went there. Like, who cares?
Right.
Do whatever the hell they want. They're not on the clock until a certain time.
Yeah, exactly. And people forget that the Bulls fucking won 4 straight after that.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Like, it goes to the casino. They win 4 straight.
You do it.
They talk a lot about his issues with the Knicks and with Barkley and what they had too. Any quick things on that?
Before we do, can we get to like the golf, man? How awesome that was, that dude. Like, I can't remember that guy's name now. Like Slim or Slick or whatever.
Oh God!
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. They
Yeah,
I heard a story about that today, and I guess it was like about the first time that guy met Jordan at the golf course, and he seen Jordan, and they kind of talked a little bit, and they got ready to play. Jordan was warming up, and one of his buddies comes over to him. He said, "Hey, man, Michael Jordan's here at the golf course," and he kind of looks up to him, just kind of like, "Okay, yeah, so why? What is he talking about?" And I guess Jordan was talking about putting, like $500 a hole. And I guess after he said that, the guy was like, "Well, I guess we finna go to work."
Yeah, I didn't even know. I mean, what was that? 90? What was
92, I think.
92 or 93? I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know they had golf hustlers. One in general, but two. I mean, even then, I mean, I could see it in like the 60s and 70s, maybe, but like literally in the 90s, like, come on, man.
Right. Yeah. Well,
If someone's going to come up to me, well, I mean, granted, George's the one who won it, but if someone's going to come up to you and be like, "Oh yeah, I'll play for 500 a hole," yeah, I know they're going to whoop my ass. I'm not doing that. I won't
exactly.
I won't even do it for $5 on a pool game at a bar. That's only $5.
Right.
No way.
I played skins one whole summer before I moved out to this area, and it every now and then it would kill me to put $20 in and then do $5 side bets on par threes. I'm like, come on, man, we gotta do this today.
Yep.
I do that with my uncle. We do like $5 on green and regulation, or $1 to $5 for green and regulation. Same for winning the hole. Little extra for a birdie. All that shit.
Right? Yeah, man. And to think Jordan's up, to a point where he's playing $1,000 a hole.
Right.
And that guy won 57 grand off Jordan once.
Right.
And Jordan just went to the bank.
Bets.
Yeah,
I love that. He's got his own bank account just for gambling. He has to.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
No, it's competition. It's for competition.
Oh yeah. Sorry, for competition. My bad. That's probably what he tells the bank. What's this account for, Mr. Jordan? Competition.
Yeah.
And he just winks at him, and then the dude behind the counter is like, "Yeah, I know. You need 60 grand for blackjack. I got it."
Right, yeah. Man. 57 grand. Just got him a cashier's check and just went on about his business.
I'm surprised he wasn't carrying that around on him. It just pulls out the wad, like, all right, here we go.
Right. Well, there were stories, I guess, too, which I found out, which I gotta find it. I just downloaded it. The Jordan rules. There's stories about that guy in the Jordan rules book about how, like, after basically like him and Jordan became friends, and he would go over to Michael Jordan's house, eat breakfast with him. Jordan's wife Juanita would make breakfast for him, and then they go to the golf course.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I'd want to be that guy's friend so he'd stop hustling me for 60 grand a round too.
Right.
We're gonna have to be friends at that point.
Yeah,
you
man.
Free shoes? Yep, sure as shit do. You want to come out to this nice private resort? Yeah, sure thing, Michael. Whatever you want, bub. As long as you don't play me for money anymore.
Right, yeah.
It'll be a lot cheaper to give him a pair of shoes and a round of golf and some scotch and lunch.
Right, yeah, man.
Than playing 18 gambling with him.
Yeah, it's like, you know what, Mike? Just because I like you, we're only gonna do $250 a hole today.
And and Barry, if you want your place to look like a resort, you just got to get in touch with Crandall's Quality Landscaping. Not at Bear's house, but if anywhere around Toledo, besides Bear's house, Sylvania, anywhere like that, Crandall's Quality Landscaping, Crandall's Quality Landscaping can help you with all of your landscaping needs, grass mowing needs. He can seed your lawn. He can clean your gutters. He will not paint. He will not go in crawl spaces. So what you have to do is get a car from Fast and Furious. And I don't know if you guys saw that. Did you happen to see that post I put up?
I seen that.
Yeah. Bear, did you end up seeing it?
Yeah, the little Toretto car.
Yeah, the Toretto car. I had O'Connor's car too that Bear actually got my son, but couldn't use that because the driver's incapacitated. But so what I did was taped the camera to the front, because I couldn't find a rope, taped a extension cord on the back so I could pull it in case it got stuck, and just drove that bitch with a little tiny flashlight on top it through my crawl space to make sure everything was good. It worked out because Sean, Crandall's Quality Landscaping, will not go in crawl spaces anymore, and he will not paint, but he will do everything else for you on the outside of your home. Whether you want to get stones done, some landscaping done. He's got some he's working on right now. He does design ahead of time. You can get in touch with him, 419-704-5471. Serves the Toledo and surrounding areas and not.
Yep.
Slovakia.
Classic.
So thank you to Crandall's Quality Landscaping. Also, thank you to Tim at Verizon. Verizon is a true technology business partner that helps local businesses deploy technologies that can positively impact operations and increase revenue for the company. At Verizon, we do not wait for the future.
We build it.
Get in touch with the sales rep in your area, Verizon.com. And thank you to Cassandra at PNC. You can visit her at the White House branch or give her a call, 419-877-0634. She can help you with all of your banking needs, whether it be loans, credit cards, or personal banking. She is there to help. Thanks, Cassandra. All right, so NFL, as we mentioned earlier, NFL is going to release their schedule tomorrow on Thursday, May 7th, or today when people listen. We do know it's interesting to see how the Hall of Fame game goes in Canton. I know it's Dallas and Pittsburgh this year, and Dallas actually plays Pittsburgh in the season. So we'll see what happens. We'll learn more as time goes on. Big thing this week, another thing is all NFL games are going to be in the United States this year. Nothing will be in Mexico, Canada, London. None of that is going to happen. And then also the big thing was Andy Dalton signed with the Dallas Cowboys. Bear, what do you think about that?
I mean, why not? That's smart. There's no reason not to, man. I mean, you got to have a backup if Dak gets hurt, and they just got probably the best backup in the league. I mean, don't get me wrong, he wasn't the greatest starting quarterback, but he wasn't that bad.
I would say he wasn't terrible.
So to get him, I mean, that's good, especially for only $3 million. Still gives him cap space. He can earn up to $7 million. And they pretty much said if he's a backup,
his incentives.
Yeah, they said if he's a backup all year, he's probably going to get $6.5 to $7 million. And that's just backing up for 16 games, excuse me. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, man. You got to have an insurance policy. You never know what can happen. I mean, Aikman had Steve Berline, Bernie Kosar, Jason Garrett, Rodney Peete. People forget that Aikman had good backup quarterbacks too. So putting someone behind Dak who is capable to come into the game and win a game and not be – I mean, don't get me wrong, Cooper Rush ain't bad, but the dude isn't proven. I would much rather have Andy Dalton in there trying to win a game, you know, if Dak gets hurt or whatever, than Cooper Rush, who's kind of an unknown. So I see nothing wrong with it. I think it's great.
What do you got, Zazu? I know you're a Bengals fan, had Dalton for years.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great pickup on Dallas. I mean, like Bear said, he's a proven quarterback. I mean, granted, he's not the best. He's inconsistent. But, I mean, he hasn't had the best teams around him his career. But, I mean, if that goes down, you got someone you can trust to go in there and possibly win you some games, you know? I mean, I always liked him. I just hated his inconsistencies at times.
So with that, too, Cooper Rush, I know you mentioned him. He did go to Jason Garrett, signed with the Giants.
Jason Garrett, and just keep taking all the sloppy seconds because he likes doing that.
Right. And we know that Dallas has until July 15th to get a deal done with Dak. They probably won't. They'll tag him, which is, a little more than $30 million this year to tag him. Do you think them signing Andy Dalton with the deal to get done between Dak and the Cowboys, do you think that gave more leverage to Jerry Jones or to Dak?
Jerry.
I don't think it gives leverage to anybody.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has any leverage, honestly.
I think it's the same old.
Yeah, I think it's just more of a contingency plan, just to have Dalton. Because I mean, I don't know. I don't really see Dak holding out and not showing up, but just in case he does, it kind of it puts Jerry in a spot to where he's not forced to pay Dak. But at the same time, who knows how Andy Dalton will do if he has actual weapons around him.
Right.
Like, there hasn't been a time where he's actually had weapons around him, to even succeed. So who knows how he'll even do.
And
Yeah,
when he
You have
happens around, he has succeeded. And that's, Dalton has succeeded when he's had receivers and a line and a good running back. But when he doesn't, he's half-ass mediocre.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And for what they probably need him to do, I mean, hell, you just gave all that money to Ezekiel Elliott, so you got somebody that can hold on to the ball long enough to hand it off.
Right. And so with that, Dalton, we'll see what happens. I mean, as a Cowboys fan and as a business person, money person, I don't think Dak's worth that much money as much as he wants, that $40 million a year or whatever. And we see all these big contracts that go out to these quarterbacks. They don't do shit afterwards. I think your Rams are a good telltale there, right? With Jared
they never
Goff.
should have gave you that money in the first fucking place.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't even get me started. That's gonna be a profanity laced rant right there. Don't even get me started. They never should have fucking drafted him.
So from there, and Emmett, I know Bear said, or one of you guys said about sitting out a couple games. Emmett did back in the day, sat out a couple games. They lost, both those games, but little different situation. You got a guy that's proven, a veteran in the league, 9 years, and you put three guys around him. CeeDee Lamb hasn't done anything yet, but I think we can agree that he's going to have a better career than Randall Cobb. And you're putting him out there who could potentially be a 1 in other places. Michael Gallup could be a 1 in other places. Cooper's, is the 1 right now. But, over time, any one of those guys can be the 1. I think we can all agree to that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, and if Andy Dalton does have to start, like, he can actually throw the whole field instead of go routes to AJ Green and short crossing routes to Tyler Eifert when he's healthy for 2 games a year.
Two? That's nice.
2.
Lucky if he's healthy for a half a game a year.
Right.
You're lucky he makes it past camp.
Right. All right. So the second to last one, Don Shula had passed away last week at age of 90. That was after our show, so our thoughts go out to his family. And, he's the only coach who was undefeated in a season. So,
wasn't it yesterday?
What,
I'm pretty sure he died yesterday.
Monday, I think, wasn't it?
Maybe Monday. I don't even know what today is.
Today is Wednesday.
I'm working and I still don't know what today is.
You're still working and you don't know what today is. Yeah, he died on so he died on Monday. It feels like last week. So he died a few days ago. So like we said, thoughts go out to him. Only undefeated coach in history. Of course, made an appearance. Ace Ventura.
Professional sports history, isn't it?
It might be
close. I don't think any coach in professional sports has ever gone undefeated throughout an entire season.
Yeah, the 4 major sports.
Right, yeah.
Now, granted, don't get me wrong, the other 3, obviously 82-plus games, so that's about impossible.
Kind of hard, yeah.
But, I mean, there's also been, 100-plus years of football, so that's rather impressive.
Right.
Close to it was Brady and Belichick, but they got Manning.
Yeah, no shit.
Which I love.
He made his appearance, too, in Ace Ventura Pet Detective, trying to put some mail in the mailbox when Ace is down there to take a look at the ring. So thoughts go out to him and his family. I got 2 more things, and then we'll get into some trivia and thank one more sponsor. Cam Newton, do you think he should sit out this year and not accept a backup role?
He has to, if he could prove he's healthy, then no, because he's a starter. I don't know where he would start, but he's a starting quarterback.
I think see him start. Give Burrow a huge to develop.
Where'd you say?
Cincinnati is what he said. I think they're going to just go with Burrow right off the start.
I know that.
Hell no.
I mean, as far as a smarter perspective, I think it'd be smarter to let him, sit and develop for a year or two. And that's why I didn't like the Dalton release at first. But I mean, they're going to do what they're going to do. I think he can still play. But
he needs to come out to LA. They just need to just sign him. Fuck it. Finally, whether he's healthy or not, just go ahead and sign him.
Oh, we know the Rams don't have money to sign anybody, so it don't matter.
Right? Yeah, they ain't got money to do shit.
Yeah. Maybe the Chargers, they could get him.
He could go for the Chargers too. Like that'd be a good fit. I mean, either LA team would be a nice fit for him.
Let Justin sit for a year.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Right. I think that might be the biggest reason why no one signed him yet, because they don't know, how healthy he really is. I mean, when he's totally healthy, he goes 15-1, wins league MVP.
Yeah, and in 2018 he was on pace he was doing better statistically than his MVP year,
right.
But then he got hurt.
Right, yeah. And that was, he got hurt, his shoulder, and then he still had a bad foot.
Yep.
So,
I mean, I think there's only one legitimate place that he could literally go now and start, just New England. Other than that, I think everyone – I mean, the Dolphins take Tua because he needs to be a starter. The Bengals take Burrow high to be a starter. They take Herbert in LA Chargers to be a starter. You don't take guys in the top 10 to sit on the bench for 10 years or 5 years or 3 years. You just don't.
Yeah.
You wait.
Unless you're Green Bay.
That's a second round pick. That's a late first round pick at the worst. So I mean, look what he should, if he really wants to go somewhere. Which like you said, I mean, he wants to start so damn bad. But look what Winston did. Winston took so less money to go sit behind Breeze to learn, but the motherfucker could be the starting quarterback of the New Orleans Saints in 2 years if he plays his cards right and make money.
But nobody was paying Jameis big money to throw 30 picks a year neither.
Well, look at the line that he had. I think that Brady's going to get exposed this year because Tampa had a shit line. He's right.
They had a decent enough line. But you can't. I can't blame 30 interceptions on the line though.
Go ahead and watch some of them highlights, and you watch. They'll get off the ball and their left tackle will get beat. He doesn't even get a chance to look down the field, and he's already starting to scramble because you don't have a choice. It's the tape. Some of that tape don't lie. Don't get me wrong. There was passes that were bad. I would love to know, which I don't have the stat. I'd love to know how many went off of Mike Evans' hands because he catches like a sack of bricks.
Right.
That would be another good stat to see. But yeah, there were some I remember him to the other team as well too. Don't get me wrong. But
yeah, I think Jameis had one of the highest amounts in the league too of interceptions that bounce off receivers' hands. I think it was him and Aaron Rodgers. I think that had the most. They were in the top 3 or 5 or 3 or whatever. A lot of their interceptions are on tip balls.
I agree with you there. It's just nuts, and we'll see what happens when he gets there, and if wherever he signs, who knows. What did you guys see the story? And I thank Parrot for this one. The story on Brett Favre was paid $1 million for speaking engagements between 2017 and 2018 that he didn't attend. Sure, fine, that's all good and dandy, but it was federal grant money.
Yeah, I heard that. Some welfare money that he's in the middle of. I didn't read the article on it, so we'll see.
So way to go, Brett Favre. He got himself back in the news. At least it's not a dick pic, right?
Right.
Yeah. I'd rather send the dick pic than accept that something that, dick pic's only going to be embarrassment. You start accepting, money and grants that don't show up and, tax evasion, all that. That's jail time.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll take the embarrassment over the jail time. Please and thank you.
Yeah, you could get jail time if they aren't over 18, right?
Well, Jen Sturger was, so that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right. That's the only the way she looks is the only reason why Farr's not in jail, because the judge looked at the picture of her and said, "Well, I understand."
I totally agree with you there. So last, of course, if you want to steer away from sending those pictures that you shouldn't be sending, and you need to get yourself a woman, you should get in touch with Connell Barrett, datingtransformation.com.
Yeah, try to avoid the quarantine dick pics and maybe get the quarantine game going, the pickup lines going. Make yourself a little more interesting on your dating profile. Obviously, you can't hang out with Connell Barrett one-on-one, but you could probably get him on FaceTime or Skype or Google Hangouts or any platform that allows you to video chat, or even, old school over the phone. So if you want to get that dating profile up for when we can go back outside and you can speak to the opposite sex again, reach out to Connell Barrett at datingtransformation.com.
All right, so we're back. We've got the trivia, and Barry, you want to give us the points?
Yeah, so as of today, May 6th, 2020, Gary has 376 points. Cody Bryant has 304 points. I have 310 points. Parrott has 184 points. Dub with 29, and Wes Anderson with 7.
I like it. I like it a lot. So we'll get the chat box ready. So first question, we're going all football this week. Let's start with the leftover draft question worth 2 points. Which team has currently gone the longest without selecting a player in the first round of the NFL draft? Hint, they haven't had a first-round pick since 16. I got to type in my little chat box here. All right, so we got a couple answers. I got almost 3 answers in. Jeez. Where you at, Zazu?
Sorry, one sec.
Just say your answer. I don't need you to
give me the let's go with the the Buccaneers. I don't know.
So we got the Patriots twice for me and Bear, the Rams for Cody. And it's the Rams.
Yeah, fucking idiots.
I knew it was one of the two.
I love it. All right, here's another good one that we get from him, from our guy, I should say. Here's a good one for you all. I think we all know Lamar Jackson was the leading rusher for his team last season. There was only one other quarterback who led his team in rushing. Who is it? I will give you 3 guesses. If one is correct, you get 5 points.
So I'm going to not guess Michael Vick then, because seems like
he's going to say it was a shocker.
Which is wild that he wouldn't be in there.
There was only one other quarterback who led his team in rushing. Who is it? So we get 3 guesses.
Well,
so I heard Vic.
No, Vic is not my guess.
Oh, Vic is not your guess. Okay.
No, I'm saying that obviously it is not Vic.
Right.
I got my 3 guesses in the chat. Warren Moon, Aaron Rodgers, Doug Williams. Oh, shit. Can I take one off?
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. I'm cutting out Doug Williams, and I'm putting in Randall Cunningham. That's who I meant. My apologies. Doug Williams is not. Warren Moon, Aaron Rodgers, Randall Cunningham.
I like it. That's pretty solid. We got Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, Vince Young.
I'm trying to come up with one more. I'm trying to come up with a third.
Yeah, I haven't typed any in.
Oh shit. Okay. I don't know.
I'm gonna go.
Getting it. That would be a shocker.
Dude, I swear I think he did one year. I can't remember what team, but I think he did.
I was gonna say Steve Young, Vince Young, and give me Troy Aikman.
That's probably why he was concussed all the time, because he was running.
Oh my God. Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Ugh.
Was that like last season?
It had to be. Well,
yeah, it had to have been. We didn't read it right. There was only one other quarterback who led his team in rushing. That had to have been last year. Let's take it back. I want to go with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Well, yeah. Tell him to make these goddamn questions more specific or Pacific, one of the two.
Well, you just told him, so I won't repeat.
No, it does say last season. Damn it.
Yeah, it does. It says was the leading rusher for his team last season. There was only one other quarterback who led his team in rushing. I think we got so hung up on 3 guesses. All right.
Yeah.
So finally, what was the only team last year with 3 wide receivers who each caught more than 60 passes?
Well, it makes me feel good. At least I said Aaron Rodgers, so I was the only one who picked someone from last season, so suck it, guys. That was the only one that had a chance.
Right.
Finally, who was the only team last year with 3 wide receivers? Okay, this one says last year. Got it.
Last year, huh?
What was the only team? 3 wide receivers caught more than 60 passes. Oof.
I don't know. Just throwing some stuff out there.
I wanted to pick the Saints, but Michael Thomas caught 870. So who else is going to catch them?
I'd say who else catches them?
Kamara had a down year.
So we got the Saints, Chiefs, Cowboys, Vikings. I think just because I think Cobb only had 55. I was listening to Stephen A. and this morning, and I'm pretty sure they said he only had 55, but I could be wrong.
I know Cooper.
Dude, why should it be like the Buccaneers or something just because we were talking all that shit about Jamie?
Probably. Godwin, Evans.
Who was the tight end? I can't think of the tight ends.
Braid or Howard.
Lions.
Yeah, that's solid too.
Bonus 3 points if you can name all 3 receivers.
Okay.
I didn't know they had 3 guys to catch passes in Detroit.
They always had receivers to catch in Detroit. Come on, man.
Oh, shit. I'm trying to think of the third guy. Oh, no. I can see him, too. Shit.
Yeah, Herman Moore, Calvin Johnson.
Oh, no.
Damn it. Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, and the ball boy. And Jones, Galladay,
Marvin Jones, that's who it is.
We got Jones, Galladay, Amendola, Galladay, Williams, Jones, and what do we got from you, Cody Bryant?
Herman Moore, Calvin Johnson, and oh my gosh, I just had to do his name too, and I just lost it that quick. Oh shoot, I think he played defense though. The other team. The other team's corner.
Nice. I actually got this one right, and the only reason I knew
Amendola.
The only reason I knew Amendola is because I had him in another league, and he was a guy I picked up, and I picked him up because it was PPR league, and he had catches. So I was like, "Oh, that's great."
Forgot about Amendola.
All right. So, thank you to Jeremy. We'll get on to we didn't really have much else. I know that Patrick Ewing said he had 2 Olympic gold medals and his Georgetown championship ring is stolen. Mike Tyson, did you guys see that video of Tyson with his new trainer, Rafael Cordero?
Yeah.
Jeez, he's like, I saw my life flash before my eyes when that right hook came.
Nah, he don't hit that hard no more. He old.
Yeah, but he did you see what kind of shape he's in right now, though? That is insane.
Yeah.
Look at him 10 years ago in The Hangover when he was looking like, the Pillsbury Doughboy. Still with my ass, though.
15 million. You take that combo.
Yes.
Oh, I'd take it. Yes, done.
Give me all the CTE for 15 million.
Yeah.
Well, I could buy a cure with 15 million.
Maybe. I don't know. Nobody else could.
Shit, 15 million, you probably could buy a new brain.
And Parrot, I know, Zazu, you said we had some UFC fights this weekend. Is that correct, my friend?
Yes, sir. I am pulling those up right now. So I know. All right, let's see here. I know it's a big pay-per-view, and it is
$249.
Yep.
All right, so it's Ferguson versus Gaeth. How do you say his name? Gaeth. Ferguson versus Gaeth for the main, and then Smith and Teixeira. Oh wait, sorry, I lied.
Cejudo and Cruz.
Yeah, Hardy's a fight.
Against the Castro. Qatar against Stevens.
Ferguson versus Gaeth. Cejudo versus Dominic Cruz. Francis Ngannou versus Jairzinho Rosenstreich. Jeremy Stephens versus Calvin Qatar. Greg Hardy and Jorgen De Castro. And it's not showing me the prelims.
Cerrone and Pettis, Olenek and Verdum, Carla Esparza, Michelle Waterman, Uriah Hall and Jacare Souza. And then the undercard is Vicente Luke and Nico Price, Brian Mitchell versus Charles Rosa, and Ryan Spann versus Sam Alvey.
I'll probably watch that this week just because I miss live sports. I mean, I've been watching Korean baseball, but
right. So, all right, let's just do one. Let's just do one from the prelim card. Pettis, Cerrone.
Yeah, I got Cowboy.
Cowboy here. Cody Bryant.
I'll go Cowboy.
All right, main card. De Castro and Hardy.
Greg Hardy will win and then somehow get DQ'd.
Most likely.
Yeah, give me Greg Hardy too.
I'm gonna go with De Castro, man.
Barrett.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Hardy too. I agree with what Bear says. He'll find a way to get himself DQ'd.
Qatar and Stevens.
Give me Stevenson.
What's Stevens?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Qatar here. Jeremy Stevens is like 100 years old.
Same. Qatar. Cody Bryant.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Qatar. I didn't even know Jeremy Stevens was still fighting me. I don't know where they dug him up from, but
Nagano and Rosenstruck.
Yeah, Stevens has lost 3 of his last 4, and the one that he didn't was a no contest that he got eye poked at, so they had to stop it.
I got a Nagano in this one.
Yeah, Nagano is going to knock this dude's head off.
Yeah, I'm going with Nagano.
Cejudo and Cruz.
Cejudo's going to defend the belt.
Yeah, I don't even know why Dominic Cruz gets this fight. Dude's washed.
I thought he was commentating fights.
He was, or he is, but I guess Cejudo has been talking mad shit, so he's coming out just like he did against Cody Garbrandt and got his ass whooped then too.
Yeah. So what is this like when Booker T got into the Royal Rumble that year?
Yeah.
King.
King Booker. All right, what about Ferguson and Gates?
Ferguson. It's too bad that he's going to be able to fight Habib. Ferguson. He's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me Ferguson on this.
Yeah, me too. That Ferguson Khabib would have been like the fight of the year, man.
Yeah, I mean Ferguson has won his last two. He's won his last two fights in the second round. Anthony Pettis threw in the towel, and Doctor stopped the Cerrone fight. Those are his last two. So yeah, he's out for blood every time he goes out there. Dude ain't scared to bleed either.
You think he's going to get that fight with Habib?
Oh, yeah.
I hope he does. I just hope that this dude doesn't get in a lucky strike or knock his ass out or something like that, which I don't think he will, but hey, crazier shit's happen, and if he does, it ruins all of that. If I was Ferguson, I get it, man. I like what he's doing because he's going out there and he's fighting like a man. He ain't holding out, but I wish he would because I'd rather see him against Habib because if he loses this, I don't know if it happens.
Nope.
Right.
All right, let's go to on this day. Let's wrap this up. So Babe Ruth makes his pitching debut and hits his first home run.
1915.
1919.
1915.
1915 is correct.
Oh, nice.
All right. Roger Bannister of the UK becomes the first person to run a sub 4-minute mile, recording 3:59.
1950.
62.
58. 58.
54, right in between you guys. Mario Andretti sets one lap speed record at Indy at 218 miles an hour.
2008.
76.
2008?
81.
I don't know who that is.
Oh my God, really?
No.
Mario Andretti, come on, man.
Like one of the best Formula One drivers ever.
87. Lennox Lewis TKO's Phil Jackson, not the Bulls coach, in 8 for heavyweight boxing title.
You mean Dennis Rodman? Oh, wait. Wrong thing. 87.
92.
95.
94. The Hartford Whalers become the Carolina Hurricanes, and Rick Pitino becomes the coach of the Boston Celtics. Same day, same year.
98.
I'm going to say 92.
Oh my gosh, because shit. 97, because Larry Bird and Kevin McHale ain't walking through that door.
Right. All right. And then on this day, of course, in 1990.
What was the year?
Oh, 97. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, told you.
I was like, wait, what?
And last but not least, on this day, 1998, I'm giving you the year. Kerry Wood struck out 20 of what team to tie the record held by Roger Clemens? What team did he beat and throw 20 strikeouts against?
Oakland.
White Sox?
I think it was the I don't know. Brewers? Hell.
Houston Astros. All
So
right.
it was interleague. Oh, wait, were they in the? No, they were in the NFL.
No, they were national back then. Yeah.
All right. So thank you to Wes Anderson for Moments in Time. Check him out on Facebook, Wes Anderson Music. Give him a follow on Twitter at Songs by Wes. Check out Mind Quarantine on all streaming platforms featuring Ted Bone. Thank you to Crandall's Quality Landscaping, All Wear Clothing, Tim at Verizon, Cassandra at PNC, Connell Barrett, datingtransformation.com. Sorry to Sparty Steve, we couldn't get you today. And as always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Keep wearing your masks, people.
Grayson, it's time for bed.
No, never.
Robert Parrish ain't walking through that door either.